Hey YouTube, I want to share some news about EV from Nissan. It's about the successor model of Nissan Leaf. They shared this news in a workshop for the sales dealers. Looks like it's going to be a compact crossover segment, just as we thought. The EV performance is pretty exaggerated. I'll also talk about its contents and particularly about North America. It'll be an EV sedan. They're going to launch an EV version of Ariya. Nissan is going to launch it in the next 2-3 years. It'll be released globally with the latest EV trends. I'll talk about our expectations and concerns about it, especially about Nissan's position. I'll explain how Nissan's electric strategy will turn out in the short term. Right now, Nissan is lining up 4 battery EV models. It's about Leaf, Ariya, Sakura, and the Townstar EV in the European market. They're selling these 4 EV models, then moving on to Nissan. I think it was the end of 2021. Nissan announced its long-term strategy called Ambition 2030. They plan to sell 15 battery EVs and 8 hybrids. In total, 23 electric vehicles are planned. That's the strategy they announced for electrified vehicles. In February 2023, this electrification strategy was slightly revised. It increased from 15 battery EVs to 19 battery EVs, and the number of hybrids stays at 8. So as of 2030's end, they'll deploy 27 electrified vehicles. Globally, that's the policy that they've declared. So, Nissan's setting higher goals for battery EVs. So yeah, they've been gradually increasing their target value. That's the main premise about Nissan. They've announced plans to launch various battery EVs around the world in the next few years. Firstly, what should be highlighted is the successor model of Nissan Leaf. It's been talked about for a while. The concept model Chill Out was announced 2 years ago. News about a compact crossover based on Chill Out has been quite rife. And in reality, the UK media acknowledged this. It's been confirmed in documents submitted to the UK government. The hatchback-style Nissan Leaf will be replaced by a compact crossover. News about it becoming a compact crossover was mentioned everywhere, but it's confirmed now. We're talking about the UK market. The EV investment plan by Nissan was submitted in documents to the UK government. At that time, it was stated in the documents that the successor model of Nissan Leaf will be produced from 2026 as an electric vehicle. So, no doubt the successor model of Nissan Leaf will be launched around mid-2026. As an EV, it's pretty much confirmed already. The production of this chill-out-based electric vehicle will start. It's almost certain that it'll be sold. Finally, 3 new EV models, including the successor of Nissan Leaf, were shown at the big North American dealer conference, where about 3,000 dealership executives gathered. They gathered to share the EV and sales strategies and to introduce the new EV models. The most attention was on the compact crossover EV, in other words, the successor model of Nissan Leaf. The executives said it looks like a mini Ariya, like a coupe-type compact crossover. This is surely the successor of Nissan Leaf. According to the executives who attended, it's almost like saying mini Ariya. It's like a downsized version of Ariya. They're making a sedan segment into an electric vehicle. It's a small electric SUV based on Chill Out. That's surely going to become an electric Nissan Leaf. That's probably been confirmed. Along with that, EV sedan segment will also be launched. That's the EV version of Maxima. They're selling it in the North American market, and they'll start selling the EV version of Maxima. They said it will be 2025 at first, but it looks like it'll be 2026. Sedans like Maxima will be produced as EVs, not just under the Nissan brand. Also the luxury brand Infiniti from Infiniti 2, an EV sedan will be released. This one around 2026. Based on this Chill Out, successor to the Leaf, there'll be 2 EV sedans from that supplier. It's clear from the documents. 2 more models, now a crossover type SUV. This one too in 2027. And then in 2028, they'll keep bringing more to the market. About Nissan in the North American market, they've got the Leaf and Ariya, and then the Leaf's successor. That's the one, totaling 5 models. In 3 to 4 years, they'll all be on the market, so that's the plan. Sure enough, EVs are growing fast in North America. You know this from this channel. So they can't lose. They're going to flood the market with EVs. That's their clear goal. And what everyone's watching, the chill-out-based successor to the Leaf. And that, the driving range is clearly improving more than the current model. They've increased the range by 25%. That's what they're saying. Referring to the current Leaf model, this is the Leaf equipped with a 60 kilowatt-hour battery, the higher grade one. 341 kilometer under EPA standards. That's the driving range. Simple math says it's 426 kilometer. 426 kilometer by EPA standard. That's the driving range. And the Ariya for the entry-level model, fitted with a 66 kilowatt-hour battery, achieving a 348 kilometer EPA range. That's the driving range. So it's a bit smaller, but well, the range improves by this much. That's a thing. Right now in North America, 500-kilometer driving range is becoming standard. That's pretty much center stage now. Compared to that, it is a bit short. So this is about Nissan, their EV, driving range, specs. Instead of stretching it, they're aiming at the compact segment, keeping the price in mind. Just like the Leaf, still being sold. That's why it's still in the game. This is it because of high cost performance. Now about this chill-out Leaf Successor, this new model, as always, it's designed as a mass market segment EV. They're going to deliver an EV as cheap as possible. So I think that will be the aim. Its driving range is around just over 400 kilometers. This is a factor of the chill-out Leaf Successor model. This might be sold in Japan, Europe, or the UK. This will likely be a global model. Even if it gets released in Japan, that'll be the specs. This is something to keep in mind. You gotta know this. By the way, for the North American market, about this Leaf Successor, there are 2 points. There are 2 important points here. First one, this is good news. Chill-out will line up an AWD grade. That has been announced. So, likely they'll line up an AWD grade. That's what I think. The Leaf didn't have an AWD. Even if it's a cheap EV, without an AWD, in snowy areas you hesitate to buy. That has been an issue. So, by adding an AWD grade, there will be more options, and that's great news. The second good news for the North American market, both vehicle and battery production. We're getting our materials mainly from North America or free trade agreement countries, and it's been helping with the rising tax in North America, which is roughly $7,500 or around 1 million yen. Nissan can finally benefit from this large tax credit. At the moment, these tax credits don't apply to our models like the Leaf or Ariya. Compared to cars from Tesla, Ford, and GM that are eligible, it's hard to compete on cost effectiveness. This tax reduction is like a boost for these companies. Without it, Nissan would be struggling, but it helps us and we can finally start. Basically, we can only start to compete by around 2026. This point is really vital, I think. Next, looking at the European market, by 2024, we're officially releasing the EV version of Micra, a small hatchback model. In the alliance with Renault, they're planning to release Renault 5, a small hatchback electric vehicle. It'll be like a sibling to Renault 5, which is on an EV-specific platform. It won't be using the CMF EV platform like the Ariya, but a new CMF-B EV platform designed for smaller segments. So the alliance will take advantage of scale benefits to release more affordable EVs. But the biggest challenge in Europe is definitely the China tax. I've mentioned it a lot here, but the MG car by China MG has quite a competitive compact hatchback model that's selling very well. And soon the Chinese company BYD is about to officially launch Dolphin in Europe. Dolphin is very competitively priced and with strong cost-effective electric cars from Chinese manufacturers already in the market. The challenge is how much the EV version of Micra can appeal in terms of cost effectiveness and sales. The competition is already tough, and we expect it to be an uphill battle. Lastly, in the China market, we're announcing a new EV in 2024, but the details haven't been released yet. Is it a sedan or an SUV? We don't know. I think it's an SUV, but we really have no idea what the new EV will be. I'd like to update you as soon as I get more information. For example, we've announced the concept model of SUV, Arizon, for the Chinese market. However, the sales of our new EV, the Nissan Ariya, which is already on sale, is roughly about 100 units per month, almost in a state of silence. So, no matter how many new EVs we release in 2024, honestly, it feels a bit like a death rattle. In the Chinese market, Nissan can't do it alone. We need to partner with a Chinese manufacturer and buy a whole EV platform, electronic architecture, and software platform to develop EVs specialized for China. Anyway, this is how Nissan is going to launch new electric cars in the next 2 to 3 years. Latest trends for new EVs on the horizon. Globally speaking, this is it. Gotta think about when the next Nissan Leaf is coming out. Originally, we said the UK market's getting a battery plant. Envision or AESC now, they're partnering up to start a battery plant for EV. It's set to open in 2024, so we're starting up then. So you'd think the next Leaf model with the latest battery would maybe launch in 2024 or early 2025. But turns out, actually, production set for mid-2026. That's what they're saying. Considering that, the timeline is a bit late. Chinese makers already have high-performance, cost-effective EVs, and 2026 is going to be a big year for EVs for sure. In 2026, Chinese brands will have even more competitive models, maybe 10 types, probably all donned up and ready to go. Even Tesla, by 2025, they're firing up a Mexican factory to make even more compact EVs. The so-called Model 2 will kick off, not just in Mexico, but also in Germany, no doubt. So you can easily imagine by 2026, Model 2 would be cruising the streets. Toyota 2 by 2026 adopting next-gen batteries, real EVs, right? So thinking about it, Launching Nissan's Successor model in 2026 seems a bit late. Feels like Nissan's timeline for EVs is a step behind, a bit late in the game. So it seems like short to medium term EV unit sales growth, it's kind of hard to see it happening. That's kind of depressing for Nissan, right? The pioneer of EVs. It seems like the future's looking a bit bleak. Surely the Chinese market's the real eye-opener. Sales are plunging, but that's for sure. How low will they go this year and next? I'm sure they're not stopping. Nissan's sales in China is the clearest. No doubt it's the Chinese market lighting the way. Gotta keep updating you on China's EV market trends. That's it.
So, thank you for watching. If you like this video, give me a like. And please make sure to subscribe to my channel. See you soon.